we bonded more than we had in years. I surrendered and really allowed myself to be there for her because she had given so selflessly her entire life to me that it was my turn to selflessly give my entire life to her for that moment, because I knew in my heart that I don't think she was gonna beat it. So that was really hard too, to actually face that, knowing that she was dying.
Hello, and welcome to Grief, Gratitude, and the Gray in Between podcast. This podcast is about exploring the grief that occurs at different times in our lives, in which we have had major changes and transitions that literally shake us to the core and make us experience grief. I created this podcast for people to feel a little less hopeless and alone in their own grief process as they hear the stories of others who have had similar journeys. I'm Kendra Rinaldi, your host. Now, let's dive right into today's episode. Welcome to today's episode. I have the honor of introducing to you all a new friend of mine because she's actually my sister's really close friend. And Jenny and I have not met in person. We've only met via Zoom twice, and it's been in gatherings in which I've been able to participate in her breath work and even meditation and also yoga virtually. So, so it's like I've only met you virtually. And just of what I know from what my sisters shared. And I just know she adores you. I know I've seen your pictures, and this is what I can see, even just from your pictures and from having been, present in Zoom with you, is that your soul shines through your smile. And it really comes through, like you could see it. So it
Thank
is just
you.
like, yeah, it is. You can see that there's absolute like this. There's a word in Spanish called contento, contentment, like joy, like an internal kind of like and it's more like it has that peaceful kind of connotation. Somebody that's content, it's like, it's just like, yeah, it's not like woohoo type of thing, but just like the,
Oh my gosh, thank
that
you.
peace.
I
That's the energy I feel from you.
Oh, well, thank you, because it's taken me a journey to get to this place of contentment.
Oh.
And I think my smile before was
Mhm.
probably not from a place of pure contentment, more of
Ooh.
trying to put up a facade. And so through what we'll probably dive into, I think has gotten me to this place now where
Oh, well,
I truly feel at peace when I am offering my smile and my presence to others.
that is so important that you say that and that you acknowledge that, because that is big. I think a lot of us are still working on discovering which masks we've kind of worn too long,
Yes.
and are trying to kind of shed that along the way. And I think as we mature and we go through different things and hardships in our life, we start realizing that they don't serve us anymore. And that's when we kind of start letting them go and let the trueness of ourselves shine through. So
Yes.
thank you for sharing that. You see, we already got a huge piece of gold already in the beginning. I usually say we get all these little nuggets throughout a call, but we got a big piece of gold at the beginning with that comment that you made. So thank you. So Jenny, you're a mom of 3 beautiful girls, all with my favorite letter. All have the same letter of my name.
Kendra, yes.
The K. So all
Catherine.
K. And my sister has a K. Yeah. So beautiful. So three girls under the age of 4, a busy mom, a yogi, an actor, dancer, and married to a musician, a singer for We the Kings. So very excited to have you. And right now, this time right now is gold for you, because it's the time the girls are sleeping, and for you to give me that that hour of time while they're sleeping, napping. Thank you so much for blessing us here with your
Yes.
presence.
Thank you for having me. I do feel very grateful that I'm able to jump on this call, because sometimes the schedule, as you know, it can be crazy. So
Yeah.
I am
Yeah.
grateful, and I am excited to dive into this conversation.
Yeah, so let's go in it. Let's go
Hmm.
head first. So my sister connected us because you had a similar grief experience as we have, my sister and I and my brother have had, which is the passing of your mother.
Yes.
So share a little bit about the when, and then we're gonna just kind of navigate in through here little bits and pieces. So, when did your mom pass away?
She passed March 17th of 2018. And you're able to ask me any questions along the way. I can
Thank you.
try and just give you a little backstory of,
Yes, please.
yes. I had moved to Los Angeles in 2007, and I had been there for about 6 months. I was the first child to move away from home, so my mom was very sad, and as my dad was too. But I think he was more open to me spreading my wings and leaving, the nest.
I was gonna say, where was the nest then? Where
But
is the nest? Where is your
yes,
nest? What is it?
my nest was in Orlando, where I'm
Okay.
back
Now,
again.
okay,
Yes,
okay.
I'm
So when
back.
you moved to okay, so you moved 6 months, you said?
Uh-huh. After
Okay.
college, I moved to Los Angeles, and the 6 months there was great. I vividly remember, though, getting a phone call one Sunday morning as I was going to church. It was actually in the parking lot before I went in. And, when you get that call, I'm sure maybe you got the call, or I don't know if they sat you down personally, but I was across the country, and my mom and dad were on the phone, and they said, we have to talk to you about something important. And of course, at that second, my heart sank because I kind of, I don't know, maybe had a feeling, but maybe, I don't know. It was just when you hear those words,
Mhm.
you just jump to the worst. And so, yes, she had been diagnosed with breast cancer in 2007. And I just remember going into church after we got off the phone call, and just like the music and praising God and just crying the entire sermon.
Mm.
And uh, that sermon spoke to me, and I was just saying, thank you for healing my mom, thank you for protecting her, keeping her safe. And I left that sermon feeling, refreshed and still sad because I wasn't at home with her. And so, but you also, I don't know if you know, but living far away from it kind of
Mhm.
takes you out of it. And so I wasn't really aware of what was going on. Um, it was uh, she had a lumpectomy after she was first diagnosed, and then did a round of radiation. And I just remember being in California and just talking to her, and my parents weren't very vocal about what was going on. I think to protect us, which is now looking back, not super beneficial and helpful, I don't think, in the
Mm.
healing process.
Because they
Um,
weren't sharing too, so for you, not knowing certain pieces of information was not helping you in your own, like, grief
Healing process, I
and
think
your
so.
healing.
I
Okay.
mean, like, in that moment, maybe it was,
Mhm.
but because I was unaware and I was just still living my life, which I think is
Mhm.
probably a good thing, instead of, you know, going to a dark place, getting depressed, and maybe thinking
Mhm.
about it too much. So there's that fine line, and I understand um, that they were trying to protect me and keep me safe and not worry, right? Because I guess with cancer, it's one day at a time, just like
Yes.
anything else. You can't really think about the future. You don't know what is going to happen. You could be healed, you could not be healed. So I understand maybe, why they didn't want to worry me.
Right, because
Um,
there's so many unknowns. It's very,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it's very, yes. Yeah.
And your siblings were still so how many siblings are you all total?
So there's four of us, and
And
I
the
have a,
other 3 were still home then during that process?
yes, the younger two were in college, though. They were 10 years
Mhm.
younger than me and my sister. So I think for all of us, we were all like kind of in a place where we had a lot of other stuff going on. So we weren't really involved too much with what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, so another like little tidbit is, like I said, my dad was very open to me moving to Los Angeles, but my mom always wanted her kids around her because her
Mm-hmm.
kids were her life. So unfortunately, me and my mom had some, I think, resentment when I was in California. And
That you were away.
yeah, I was away, and I could tell that she didn't, necessarily want me to have gone. But that's my passion, was to always move to Los Angeles and follow my dreams, and so I stuck to that. And then she was in remission, not for a long time, and then it came back in 2013. It had metastasized.
Oh, okay. So 2007 was her. So 13 years ago was her diagnosis. So then you, while you were, sorry if I backtrack. So while
Yes,
you were in California and they were home, she went through chemo and all the procedures, those
yes,
and
yeah.
all that. Did you ever in those then before, during that time, did you go back like at certain points on, vacation, like, certain
Hmm.
breaks that you got to see her in that fragile state in any of that period of time?
So in the early stages of it, I didn't, because I wasn't aware. Like I think they made it
Hmm.
seem like everything's okay, like she's gonna be okay, So I really wasn't too worried.
Okay.
And I didn't go to any of her appointments. But then we were on a family vacation um, in 2013 when actually my husband Travis was with us. He had so kind, had bought us all a townhome to stay in Colorado, and
Mhm.
invited my parents and everything. And um, on that trip, my mom told us that it went into remission. I could tell she was off during the whole vacation, and I wasn't really sure why. Um, so yeah, so that was tough because we were all together, and we were all so happy. I just met Travis, and
That's what I was
um,
just gonna say, like, because then you met him for you being in California?
yeah, we met in
Yeah.
California in
See, there was a purpose you had to be in California. You see, like,
Yes,
that
yes.
was the whole
Hmm.
reason you had to move there,
Yes,
to meet your
definitely. Yeah, when you look back, you're like, wow, and I have no regrets.
right.
But yes, that is one of the
That
reasons.
is one of the
Yes.
main reasons, yeah.
Yes.
So then you're there, and so were your siblings there too when you guys were in
Yes.
Colorado, or just okay, so you
Mhm.
were all there. She shares the news of it
Mm,
coming back,
mhm.
and
Ugh.
then what was the journey then from there on? That
So,
oh, that yeah, what happened that seems to have touched a
yes.
chord. Mhm.
It all has touched a little bit of a chord when I, rehash all of the memories.
Yeah.
Uh, it's hard to talk about, but it's good to talk
Mhm.
about, because me and Travis got engaged in 2000, and we got married into
I
my
know the
memory's
dates.
like, what?
Mom brain.
So okay, so he
Jenny, you wanna go nap with the girls?
I might
Should
need
we
one.
postpone the podcast?
We might have to. Oh my gosh.
It's
Okay, so
okay, I'm
Travis
joking.
proposed in May of 2014, and we had gone on that trip in March.
Oh, okay.
So Travis proposed. I thought, actually, everyone thought he was going to do it on this trip. Just just to throw that out there. Whatever, he didn't. Um,
Well,
uh,
that would have been a little of a,
yeah,
interesting kind of combination of emotions of
duality.
your mom,
Yeah.
right? That
Mhm.
duality. Mhm.
So I guess it was a good thing. But so yeah, so we got engaged in 2014. We decided to have the wedding in December of
Mhm.
2014. So everything happened really quick between Travis and I, and I'm really so grateful that it did, because my mom got to meet him in September of 2013 before everything came back. And she had such a love for Travis, and Travis had such a love for her. Their bond was so incredible. And
Mm.
um, I think he brought her so much peace. Oh my God, she was like his biggest fan. This is all bringing like so much emotion back to me now that I'm like
It's
talking about it.
okay. It's okay.
But yeah, she would like be front row in all of his shows. And
Mhm.
when she got really sick, she couldn't make some of them, so we would FaceTime her, and she would FaceTime in to the shows. And yeah, their bond
Oh,
was beautiful. So
that's so did she know who he was? Did she know who he was as a musician prior to you guys starting dating,
I didn't
or
know who he
did
was.
she become oh, okay, okay. Did she know?
No,
Maybe, or did she
yeah,
become a fan, or did she become a fan,
after.
after? Oh, okay.
Yes,
That
yeah.
is so beautiful, how supportive and beautiful that bond.
Yeah, she had, oh my God, such a blast at his shows. And one of his songs was, Just Keep Breathing. And so I think that song really
Mhm.
got her through a lot. It's a beautiful song. And oh, he wrote a beautiful song for her funeral. Oh my God.
Oh
Anyways.
my gosh.
um,
You're gonna have to send me that one, if there's a link to that one, let me know because we could put it in the show notes if
mm,
there's any of those links, because
yeah.
I know your husband's done several, like, YouTube videos and stuff of these songs, so any of these that you feel that as the
Could
listeners
help
are,
others.
hearing this, and if it could help them, yeah, please let me know, and we could put those in the show notes.
Yeah, I don't even know if he put that
Wow.
song out, but I hope he did because it was beautiful.
Oh,
So I'll let you know.
beautiful.
So I'm kind of getting off track and going all over the place.
No, 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 that well, this is what I say with conversations in general. It's kinda like grief that it's just not linear really, like, it's the same, but, like,
Yeah,
the conversation could kinda go it doesn't have to be linear. We could jump
it
we
leads
started at the
itself.
fact that we already know that your mom passed away, but we're going into the
Yes.
other parts too, and which are all, so important. So no, please continue. So then you guys the marriage was then May,
December
2000
of
December, sorry,
2014. Yeah.
2007. Okay, engaged in that year. Yeah, okay.
Yes. So
So was
yes.
she able to be at the, wedding that December, and
Yes.
where was it? Was it in California? Was it in Orlando? Or where was Travis from originally?
So we met in California, but he was from Florida, so it was like a
Okay.
beautiful,
Oh, perfect.
when you
Okay.
write down like what you want in a mate.
Uh-huh.
He like checked off all the boxes. I really wanted someone that was from Florida so we could visit our families together. And
Oh, so
yes, it
perfect.
was beautiful. And so yes, my mom was at the wedding, and we actually decided to have them redo their vows during our ceremony. So
Oh,
my mom and dad
oh,
were able to stand up and uh, celebrate their love.
beautiful.
Yeah, what's the word to when you redo your vows?
Renew, yeah, no,
Renew,
vow
renew.
renew,
That's what
yeah,
I was looking.
vow renew, yeah,
Yeah, renew
renewing the
their
vow.
vows.
That
So,
yeah.
oh my gosh, that I was so grateful that we had that happen at our wedding for them because it really touched my mom. So anyway, so yes, so then I got pregnant
Mhm.
2 months later, and after that, Travis was like, "I think we should find a house in Orlando," and I was like, "Oh, I want to be in California. I love California, even though my mom was sick." I think it was probably helping me to not really be in it, to be far away, and I
Mm.
wasn't facing it. But we decided to move back, and in 2015, and we bought a house here in Orlando, and it was the best decision I had ever made in my entire life. We bonded more than we had in years. I surrendered and really allowed myself to be there for her because she had given so selflessly her entire life to me that it was my turn to selflessly give my entire life to her for that moment, because I knew in my heart um, that I don't think she was gonna beat it. So that was really
Mm.
hard too, to actually face that, knowing that she was dying. Um, and that came like a year after we had moved. I remember
The
vividly being,
realization
yeah,
the realization that that was what
what's happening.
the journey was gonna lead to.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember just crying, and
Now
I'm just yelling at Travis saying, "She's dying, she's dying." And like no one,
mm,
everyone was trying to be so positive, like, and oh, she'll make it through. She'll do another trial, another test trial. She did so many different trials and drugs and chemo, and I knew, I knew it wasn't helping. So, so,
it's just so hard because I can relate to what you're saying of the aspect of one still, being, keeping your hopes up in that process,
mm,
but at the same time not being naive about it
Mhm.
either, you know? And that's kind of how our family was. We were like that duality was very prevalent throughout all of it in all of our cases. Like sometimes like my mom would say things that we'd be like, oh, okay, does she realize, like, she's like, oh no, I want to save that, I want to save those clothes, for afterwards, because
Mhm. Mhm.
or something, and then we'd be, my sister and I would look at each other like, and then but then they'd be like, so we'd be like looking at, burial plots, you know what I mean, like it
Right.
was that
Totally. Like
contrast of
back and
like,
forth.
oh yes, it was just, oh, so I totally can relate.
Yeah, you want them
Mm.
to live so badly. And for me, I was doing everything in my power that I could because I personally believe in alternative medicine and holistic medicine. And I was
Mhm,
trying so hard to get her to try something different. I was pumping my breast milk for her to see if
mhm,
that would give her nutrients that she needed because she was just taking all these drugs and not doing anything to enhance her immune system while doing it. Like nothing, she wasn't eating, and
mhm,
she would have Starbucks frappuccinos and Chick-fil-A because that's what her body was craving, but that's what the cancer was craving, and it was killing me inside seeing her,
mm.
put that into her body along with the drugs. And I got to a really angry place and like was
In that
so,
journey.
yeah,
Yeah.
so mad that she wasn't trying anything or doing anything different to help, cure this or, prolong.
And
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I that aspect of nutrition, that's one of the things I noticed in my mom's cancer journey too, like when, because she was so thin, and they needed to get her to be in a weight, hopefully, to be able to operate if
Mm-hmm.
the tumor reduced. And I remember that the doctor would just say, oh, you just eat some ice cream, and things like that, like it was like, and my
Yeah.
mom's like, he just said I need to, eat whatever, but I need to eat. And I was like, yeah, but it just doesn't make sense that they're like, like,
Telling you to eat bad
what?
things. Yeah. Or
Yeah, like, it just didn't make sense. Like, yes, I get it,
it didn't make
but that
sense.
part of nutrition was just missing in the healing, journey, in the medical component of it, like,
Yeah.
my sister and I, like, we would do, and she would also research. She was always into holistic medicine too herself, but at this point she kind of surrendered to traditional, that was
Mm-hmm.
just,
That was it.
that was kind of what she did. But
Chose.
everybody's journey is and it's respected, and everybody's choice. But yes, but it when you struggle with those decisions too.
So the moment I decided
Mm,
and I chose to honor her, to respect her, to surrender to what
mhm.
she wanted, not what I wanted. This is her
Yes.
journey. This is her path. She is going to choose for herself where what she wants to do.
Mhm.
I can't. I can't do it. And it was killing me inside knowing that I couldn't. But the moment that I stepped back and I said, thank you, God, I know that this is her path. This is her journey. I need to let go. I let go and let God. And was a moment our relationship turned its pages. I was there for her. I was like not judging her. I was not forcing her, attacking her to try something new. I just was there with her, holding her hand, talking to her, being with her. And it was the most beautiful thing that I could have ever done because, like I said, I have no regrets. If I had stayed in California or didn't come back, like I would take Kinsley with us to every doctor's appointment with her, and Kinsley would brighten her days while she was there, like waiting to get anesthesia. I would go back in the room with her. I would play with her hair, and I would, you know. So the moment I surrendered and just was there for her,
You were able to be present.
yeah, present
Present.
in what was
Mm.
happening. And I just remember like the last week of her life, I would go home and I would just lay in bed and I would breathe in love and exhale fear and say that to myself. And
Mm.
because I'm sure like no one can sleep during that time, but I had to
Mm.
choose something to get me through it. And that helped so much. I was at peace finally by the end. I was at peace with what was happening, and we were all there with her, and it was the most beautiful thing.
Mhm.
She passed away in their home, and my little sister was holding her hand, and she yelled to everyone because we were arranging things like out in the living room, and we all ran back to the bedroom, and she took her last breath and smiled, And I cried my eyes out, and I was saying, thank you, God, and just like raising my hands, and like I could feel her soul lifting,
Mm,
and it was beautiful. And I wanted to be there. I was there. I stayed with her until the hospice truck came, or the
mhm.
funeral. I don't know what is the word, to come
I
take her
also
body.
forgot that.
Um,
Yeah, it's not it's
it's
the
the
mortuary.
more yeah, what is that? Oh,
No,
I don't know.
mortuary. I forget the name too.
Yeah.
I forgot. Yeah, until they
Uh,
came to take her.
take her body, which was, and then the sweet guy that came to take her body, we would always, before we left the house, my parents' house, everyone always honks 2 times, and everyone's outside waving. No one goes back inside before anyone leaves. And the sweet guy honked 2 times for, my mom, and left. And
Oh.
it was like,
Oh, so it's a tradition. So every time you leave the house, so it doesn't matter if somebody's leaving your house at like 2 in the morning, you're gonna honk and wake up the whole neighborhood. It doesn't matter.
yep, and
That's a
honked two
tradition.
times. Yep.
Okay. And so
I mean, we
you
would never
told
really leave my parents' house at 2 in the morning, but it's all. um,
so then you just told him then if he could just honk when he was
yeah,
leaving.
and he did, and it
Oh.
was just so sweet.
That's beautiful because it's honoring that tradition. Now, spiritual wise and religious wise, you mentioned church. Was that something that then held you through that, the aspect of meditation? What were some of these
Mm.
tools you used in the journey of her
Sickness,
illness,
yeah.
of her sickness, and then what have you been using now since her
Mm.
passing?
Mm. Yeah, so like I said, in the early stages, I was going to church in Los Angeles, and it gave
Mhm.
me so much peace. I was raised Catholic. I was going to a Christian church in Los Angeles. When I moved to LA, I love how the Baha'is say that you should always um, search for your own identity or your own truth.
Truth. Mhm.
Don't they
Yeah,
say?
yeah, yeah, individual investigation of
Yes,
truth.
yes. Individual
And
investigation of truth was exactly what I did when I moved to Los Angeles. And
Mm,
that's when I met the Baha'is, actually,
mm,
that faith. And
mhm.
so I was exploring all different faiths, which was helping me. The people I was surrounding myself with were so positive and prayed with me. And um, Travis's mom too, I have to say, a she's a big Christian, and her prayers, she was with my mom so many times too, where she would just pray over her, and could call her anytime, and she would pray with me on the phone. And that gave me a lot of peace because her faith is so strong, and she has actually battled cancer twice in her life.
Oh,
And I think
wow.
that her faith has gotten her through it. Um,
Mm,
so I think that's a very big part in healing. Having
mhm.
something that you believe in, whether it's God, a higher power,
Yeah,
whatever it is.
Gaia,
Yes,
yeah, whatever it is.
whatever it is
Yeah.
really important. And so that helped me a lot in the early stages. And then when I came back to Florida, I was meditating and doing yoga and just getting to that place of silence where I can actually let go of any of the thoughts that I was having, because I had some crazy thoughts during the whole process, especially when she got
Mm,
sick during the end, and
mm.
yeah, the anger and the sadness and the depression. And mind you, I was pregnant 3 times during
Oh,
her, 2 times during her sickness, and then once after she had passed. So all my
so you
births
gave birth to your second one while she was still alive,
alive. Yeah.
your
So I
second
had
one, okay.
2 babies I had all 3 babies in my home, and my mom was able to come to the first 2 births. She was
Mm,
there with me, yes, with Kinsley, and she was there with me through Kaya. But Kaya, she was the sickest. And this is another crazy topic too, where, that has so much to do with the birthing process, because I
mhm,
was most angry and most sad with Kaya, and her birthing process was the most difficult. Um,
mm.
and Callie,
Like
when
in
my
order
mom
like allowing you mean your body to
wasn't,
surrender in that moment? It
yeah,
was
yeah,
yeah,
it wasn't
letting
allowing
go the
to
tension
surrender,
itself. Ooh.
because
So
my
you
my mom was
surrendered to your mom's illness, but yet something or had you already at that moment when you were having
right,
Kaya, had you already surrendered to her to the illness itself and
right.
the her process?
Right. So
Mhm.
I said in our conversation that I had surrendered, but obviously I had not. And
Yes.
like you said, it's like
Ooh.
a journey, right? So I think I had surrendered. I said I surrender, and um, but that was when she was most sick with Kaya, because she Kaya was born and she passed 6 months later. Um,
Mhm.
so yes, during that birthing process was the hardest, getting Kaya out. And after Kaya came out, I was like, I can't do this. I was crying, but not the crying that I had during Callie's birth, which was the recent one.
Yeah.
Because with Callie's pregnancy, I went through yoga teacher training. I saw so many different healers, that, can you hear those dinging things? Dinging? Can you hear any dinging? I hope not.
I don't hear dinging.
Okay,
I
good.
hear
Okay,
like
sorry.
no, but I hear as if you like touch like anything. I don't know if your microphone is on your chest or if
Oh,
it's like
yes,
some
it is. I keep touching my
oh, it's
chest.
yeah,
Yes.
so those parts I hear. So I've had to
Okay.
kind of take notes. We'll see if we can edit those. If not, sorry, people, but it's okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm touching my heart so many times
It's
because I think
okay.
it helps when I'm
It's part of
speaking.
it. Absolutely. No, 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 no worries.
So
So then, yeah, continue. You had seen some healers and you had with Callie when
yes,
you were
with my
pregnant with
last
Callie.
birth with
Yeah.
Callie after my mom had passed, because I was working through things, obviously,
Yes.
with the grieving process, and thinking that I was okay, and then getting to these healing sessions and then just crying my eyes out. And it was a beautiful thing that I did that through that birth, because Callie's birth was the most beautiful birth I have had.
Mhm.
Kinsley's was beautiful because I wasn't aware of what was happening, and my mom was right there with me holding my hand. As I said, Kaya, she was the sickest and it was more difficult. And then Callie, I had let go of a lot of sadness that had to do with my mom's passing, and my worry of her not being there, and anxiety of her not being at this birth because she was at the other two births. Um, and everything played out just the way it was supposed to that day, and it was the one of the most beautiful things I ever experienced. It
Mm.
was raining and I knew she was there, my mom was there with me, and
Was
yes,
rain symbolic for you? Was that
yes,
or the cleansing that
cleansing,
was
yeah,
symbolic
like I
cleansing
knew that she was
component of it?
crying and like
Yes.
so happy
Oh.
that
Oh.
so yeah, so that, and all of my birth videos are on YouTube, and uh Travis wrote a
Oh, I
song
have to see the other
to each
I have to see
child.
the other 2 because 'cause I've only seen Callie's. I haven't seen
Oh,
the ones with your mom. I'm gonna have to
yes.
look for those. Oh, that's
So
beautiful.
I
And he
think,
wrote a song for each one of those journeys of your pregnancy and your for the delivery, and did you only hear those songs after when would he tell you that he'd written a song?
yeah,
Oh.
after they were born, I knew that he was writing them, but I would hear them after they were
Mm.
born, when he put this beautiful video together of, he filmed all of them. And yeah, the songs are unbelievable. He's so talented, and I'm grateful that I have him as my soul partner, because he helped
Mm.
me through so much of this process too. That, the grieving process, he was such a rock when I was such a mess. Oh my God, he endured so much of my pain and my anger, and didn't once raise his voice back at me, or was just a super, super supportive during all of it. And I'm very, very grateful for that.
So
Um,
we could name Travis as one of your tools and you're
yes,
grieving one
yes.
of them.
Yes, that's
But
so important
but
to have a support
yes,
system
a
and someone
support
that,
system, right?
yeah.
Yeah. And that gets you, and like you said, that knows that some of these, behaviors that you might express are part of that grief.
Mm,
And I mean, the thing is that he could empathize with you because if his mom had been through cancer too, like he could you
mm.
had a relatability too and of that pain of even just going through an illness itself, right?
Yes, yes, but I think I also held a lot of resentment towards him, because he
Mm,
looked at my mom as his mom, and but I'm like, your mom hasn't died. You don't know how I feel,
mm,
like that was one big thing that I was deeply uh, resentful about towards him, that he still had his mom and he was trying to, help me through all this, but didn't really know how I was feeling because he hadn't gone through it, you know?
mhm,
It's different when
mhm.
you go through it, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is different, and but it's also that fact that even, like, with your siblings, I'm sure you each grieved very
Yes.
differently, right?
Hmm.
So and the same with your dad. So even though you've all experienced the same thing, it's still
Yes.
different. You
And I
can
need to
relate to
honor
somebody else.
his
Yeah,
grieving too, because
exactly.
he
She
was,
was his number 1 fan.
I know.
She was his number 1 fan. It's like,
It's so
who was
true.
gonna be he was gonna miss that cheerleader in the front row in his concerts and
Yeah.
FaceTiming to see his concerts. But yeah, it's true. You honoring, respecting that it's gonna be different and that we always wanna feel like, I don't know, when we're in the middle of it, like, we feel our pain is just
So yeah.
bigger.
Yeah. And it's only our pain, right? Or something. Like I
Yes.
felt like it was
Yeah.
only my pain because I was the one losing a mom.
Exactly,
But he
but it
was
yeah, it
losing,
affects everybody.
yeah.
Mhm. And he was also in pain not only because she was passing away or she had passed away, but also seeing his wife, the woman he loved,
Yes.
in so much pain. So it's like a double whammy
Mm,
too, because he's seeing
yes.
you go through that grieving journey too, and not being able to help really truly take that pain away
Mm,
is also very hard for somebody that's watching.
yes.
You know, so I can relate to that. So then the prayer, meditation, yoga, support system,
Community. Hmm.
all these community aspect, all these things were things you embrace. Now, did you ever? You said you're a dancer. Did you ever dance your in some way to express any or release or anything as
Mm.
well in your journey?
I think through yoga is when I would do that because when I moved back, I unfortunately, yeah, didn't dance as much as I was in Los Angeles. But yeah, even moving in my house, I should have done because that is so freeing for me. And I really connect to my true self when I'm in that element. But, I didn't. And so maybe that was something I could look at now too, to express my emotions and feelings through all of this. Because, like you said, it's a journey and
It is. It
things keep
continues.
coming back. Yeah. I do have to
It
say, we did
continues.
start a company in honor of my mom called Awareness Rings.
Oh,
Um,
yes, yes, that's what one of the things I wanted to get to too. Tell us.
well, it's on hiatus right now because I was pregnant with Callie and there was a lot going on and she had just passed, so I'm still trying to work it out, but I wanted to create this company that people can connect, people can know that other people are going through similar situations as them. It it's a jewelry company. It's and our logo represents our parents and the four sisters. It's kind of like an A with four lines on the inside and then two circles surrounding us, which is representative of my mom and dad, who have always protected us,
Mm,
supported us, community. Um, and I wanted people to wear this symbol and know that when they saw someone else wearing it, that they could offer a hug or ask them what their story was or connect on a deeper level and just know that they aren't alone, even if it's you just see it
mm,
and you're like, oh wow, someone else is going through something difficult and so am I. So that's where it stemmed from, and also because with my family it was so hard to communicate during these times, about anything, especially about her sickness. And so we weren't communicating. And as I've come to find, for me, speaking and talking about it is something that can heal tremendous wounds, letting it out, expressing it. And so I wanted people to be able to talk and get it off their chests because that was something my mom didn't do. She never once wanted anyone to know about her illness. So she never spoke about it. She hated the C word, the cancer word. And
mm, mm,
yes, so I think it's so important to own what's happening in your life or to accept it so that you can move past it, right? And so I never
mhm.
think that she accepted it to move past it. And
It's kind of like the that sounds like the do you ever read the book, We're Going on a Bear Hunt? Have you ever heard that
mm,
song or book, that we're gonna catch a big one? No?
yes, yes,
Like,
yes, yes, yes.
I'm not
Uh-huh.
scared. It's
I
a
feel
little
like I
story that
haven't since
you
like I
gotta
was younger, but yes, I have
Oh, okay,
read
well,
it
I
with
had
my
it well,
kids.
I would say it and I used to own a children's gym, and so that it was one of the things we would do the kids, but then I had a book for my kids when they were little that was about it, but it's like, there would like, you come into a field and it's like, we can't go over it, we can't go under it, we have to go through it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the right now when you said that aspect of, like, acknowledging that there's something we're having to deal with, you really there's really no way around it.
Right.
You have to go through that. You
Right.
have to go through it. You have to acknowledge that it's there and just, in order to really pass through
Through it.
certain
Hmm.
hardships. Yeah. Um, and so that's right now what that kind of brought to my mind was that image. And I think what you were expressing to, like, that conversation, the aspect of like, by wearing the awareness, so it's a aware
It's a
is it
necklace.
ring?
It's
Yeah.
kind of confusing. So we're kind of
Yes.
in, you know, uh, constant conversation about how we can really make this land with people and connect with people. But it's a necklace, and it looks like the shape of a little circle, a ring,
Mm-hmm.
and
Oh, okay.
that's what
That's like the
the ring
awareness ring.
is. Yeah,
Got it. Got it.
like the Olympic rings,
Yes.
that's their
Yes.
symbol. So yeah, ours is like a little
I've
ring, and yeah,
I've seen the logo, but do you have other things too? No, because doesn't my sister have, like, doesn't she
yes,
have a baseball
apparel,
cap or
yes,
apparel? Yes. Okay. Okay.
yes.
Because then the apparel's there, and then that way, yeah. So it's
Well,
apparel, and it's jewelry too,
the
or
apparel isn't there anymore because North Face has a
oh,
similar
they did.
logo, and we got their lawyer got in touch with us, and so that's why we're kind of revamping and why we've been in this hiatus because the logo is so similar to that of North Face. But
Oh, okay.
they're allowing us to do jewelry, so that's why we're trying to kind of
Got
revamp.
it.
But
Okay.
when I met Catherine, I gifted her the necklace because I knew her story, and that's when we connected and we had coffee and we talked, and it was so beautiful. And that's when I have conversations like that, it inspires me to keep going with it because
Mhm.
I think it was healing for me and her to sit down over coffee and just know that we both have been through something really
Yeah, she
tough.
called me after that coffee date.
Yeah.
She called
Oh.
me. She I remember she's like, "I just met somebody and her mom
Oh.
also passed away." And so it is
Yeah.
so true that that aspect of finding that connection with that is it just kinda takes you into this deeper, friendship so quickly,
Hmm.
right? Like, you kind of already know that somebody's been through something similar to you that you can relate in just
Mm.
another level. So I know she completely, like, I think after that coffee date, yeah, it was
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was just a bonding moment for you both.
Hmm.
The other thing too, the aspect of how you were all grieving that was a little bit different, that you felt that things needed to be talked. Has that improved through the years, or do you still feel that everybody has their own way and how they're, like, for you, like, you're like me, like, I like to talk about it. That's why I've got a podcast
Mm.
about grief.
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
I have a podcast. Let's talk about it. Let's do, but there are other people that don't. They grieve differently.
I
So
know.
it for us that may express it in this way can feel frustrating when others don't. But we also
Yes.
have to, back again to honoring that, just like how it came to the surrender of even just acknowledging that that's how your mom wanted to do, in the same
Yeah.
process, I think, has to be with how we acknowledge that everybody in our life just has a different way in which they're navigating their grief that may be expressed differently.
That's so hard
Um,
for me, but yes, it's so true,
yeah.
because I know because I guess I am connecting that to my mom's illness, and that I'm
Mhm.
like maybe I'm labeling it that she was like wasn't getting any better because she was keeping so much inside. And so I think what's important is to find an outlet
Yes.
to grieve.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Whether it's talking or like me dancing in my bedroom or something,
Exactly.
or painting, right? So
Yes.
yeah,
Some
that's
way in which you
important.
can express. I heard in a grief, uh, in a grief support, like, I don't know, like webinar or something like that. They were talking about the people that are doers, like, like let's say somebody that loves to work, like
Mm-hmm.
work, 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 and work. And then, they have a death in the family, and then they go back to work, work, work. And then you think, wait a minute, they're not taking time. They're not
Mm-hmm.
taking time to grieve. Like somebody that's a feeler, like like a
Yes.
feeler, like we are, the
Yes.
feelers, kind of like
I am very
those.
much.
And
Mm-hmm.
we do not relate to that because it was like, wait, but that's not what I would do. I would like be in my bed for like a week and just feel it and feel all the emotions and cry and this and you know, but for people that are doers, that's the way that they cope.
You're
They have
right.
to, so
But is that the
it's
way they cope? I'm like, so, oh my gosh, I know their way is
right,
not my way, and my way is not their way. I'm like,
yeah.
wait, but can you just sit
And,
down for 1 second? Would that help or
uh,
no? It won't. It won't.
no,
I
yeah,
don't
it's
know.
really
Yeah.
right? No, it's weird, but it's just because it's different because for that
Yes,
person,
it's
the
just
keeping
different.
busy,
Hmm.
even though we may see it as like, "Oh, they're keeping busy so that they don't
Think about it.
think about it." No, for some, that keeping busy is the way that they
Hmm.
are coping,
Yes.
um, which could be the opposite for somebody that, let's say it's a feeler and all of a sudden you're keeping busy. That's different. You
Mm.
see, like that may be
Right.
different.
Right. Right.
There
Right.
could be avoidance.
Mm.
If you
Yeah.
normally, how you would normally deal with things would be more in the feeling thing, and all of a sudden you're just, doing all these things to keep
Mm.
yourself busy to not feel. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I don't know that
I know. Yeah. Sorry. That's
it-
a different
it's
topic, but
like, oh no, it's
it's
still
a.
part of the same one. It's still part of the same one, but it's still that aspect of yeah. Sorry, yeah, we throw all these because any of these things, whatever comes in the conversation, if it ends up being that the listener can relate to any little bit of it,
Yes.
that's the
Absolutely.
that's the goal or connect in some way.
Hmm.
So now with this, then we have the awareness rings, and that's another way that you're processing then the current grief of being able to create that and honor her. And what about with the girls? Tell me a little bit of how it is. How do you share with them? Because then the only one that maybe really truly remembers her a little bit would be Kinsley.
Yeah.
So how do you keep her
Yeah.
memory in
Hmm.
your life, her in your life?
That's so good. I know. She would always say, Gigi here, Gigi here, whenever she would talk to Kinsley and even Kaya for the first, couple months or whatever. And um, now any ladybug they see, they say, "Oh my gosh,
Mm.
Gigi's with us! Gigi's with us!"
Oh,
Whenever we're in the pool, there's like ladybugs everywhere, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Gigi, Gigi, can I hold Gigi?" And
oh.
so we
How did
talk.
they come up with the ladybug being the symbol? For
Mm.
how did they was it something for you that meant a lot, or was it something that meant a lot for your mom?
Yes,
Like, what
my mom loved ladybugs, and I think during the last few years is when she really got into them, and so that was just our animal for her. My mom's sister unfortunately passed away too, of
oh,
breast cancer. She had breast cancer, but then it metastasized, and she got pancreatic cancer. Um,
mm.
and so her
This is
kids.
after or before
This
your mom?
so yeah, so this was before my mom, and then her
Mm,
mother passed away too before she passed away. So I know too, for her, that was
mm,
two of the most traumatic things she had witnessed because
mhm.
she was there with them in the hospital, both of them. And so, having her mom pass and then her sister pass of
So
cancer,
much yeah.
like how can you try and train your mind to be like, to not think that that's going to happen to you when you're
Mm,
diagnosed with cancer, and I
mm,
just know
mm,
she was so fearful, and it was so empathetic towards her feelings. But so yeah, so her sister passed, and her kids call at anytime they see butterflies. That's Aunt Sue,
mhm.
and so ours is the ladybug with Gigi, and we talk about her all the time, and you show pictures, and my dad's still so madly in love, and talks about her, and anytime he writes cards and birthday cards, he'll say from Gigi and Poppy, you know, yes. So he always incorporates her in everything, and we
Oh,
still celebrate her birthday, and get a birthday cake and sing happy birthday to her. And yeah, it's only been 2
beautiful.
years, but that's how we still,
That is
still,
beautiful.
yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Because sometimes the not talking is also something that some families choose to do, to not talking about the loved one,
Mm,
and acknowledging those milestones, like a birthday or
mm.
anniversaries. What do you do for the anniversaries for
Oh
her?
yeah, so on awareness rings too, we have a blog post where we've written some articles, and one of them is how to celebrate the celebration of the passing,
Of life?
of
Mhm.
life. And so there's some different techniques, but we personally will celebrate it. This last time we went down to the springs where my family lives. It's this in the neighborhood. They have this freshwater springs, and that's where we had her funeral too.
Is
It's
that
so
why
beautiful.
late wait Wailelea? What is that? Is it one of
Wakaiva.
those? Waikaiba, that's
Wakaiva Springs. Yes,
is that
it's
it?
close to that, but it's not Wakaiva Springs.
Oh,
But
okay, okay. I was like, what was it?
Wakaiva, yeah, Wikiva. Everyone says it differently, but yeah, Wakaiva.
I don't know that yeah, I forgot that I've only been once, so I'm like, I don't remember.
Yeah, so we were
But then you
fortunate enough
there.
to live in a neighborhood that had a freshwater springs
Oh,
like that, and
beautiful.
so we had our funeral there. My little sister got married up there.
Oh,
The
beautiful.
moment my mom drove into this neighborhood, she said, "This is where I'm living." And they still have their house there 40, 50 years later.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's a really special place for us for many reasons. And so we'll go up there and celebrate her life and write notes and send them up in balloons, even though that's probably not good for the environment. So, but it's the thought that counts, and we're just maybe next year we'll do
You're like,
something a
wait,
little
oh,
different.
yeah,
I
yeah, it's okay. You compensate. You do other things for the environment that
Yeah,
that
compensate, hopefully.
override the fact that you send out
Yes,
balloons. So it's
yes.
okay.
And oh, she
Um,
loved painting rocks. She loved painting rocks and leaving
oh,
them. So that's another memory we do. We paint rocks and we leave them in different areas of the neighborhood. And um, so, yeah, another way to honor
so
her.
so
Mm.
many different ways, and it's those little things that when somebody else is gonna see the little rocks is gonna brighten their day.
I
So
hope
it's as
so,
if her
yes.
memory lives on. Yeah, her memory lives on not only through you guys, but then how you're passing on that kindness and that love
Mm,
through these little expressions too.
mm.
So that's beautiful. And through the awareness rings and all awareness rings company and everything. I'm sure it will revamp soon. We'll still put the can is the
Link.
website, then can people still go there, or the
Yes.
blog? Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So
Awarenessrings.com. And it's spelled wear, WEAR,
oh, okay,
because
okay.
you
You
wear
see, I
them.
wrote you wear it. Okay. And then I'll post the link in the show notes so that people can go
Okay.
to that too. But I am just so grateful for you sitting here and chatting. Is there anything else that you wanted to share that I might have not asked that
Hmm.
you still feel like you need to
No,
share, or any
I'm
more
looking at a
insight or
picture.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking at a picture of my mom right now. And I, prayed before I got on the call with you that I would honor myself and honor her. And I just want to let her know that I love her and that we miss her. And that's it.
Thank you.
Mm,
That's a beautiful way to finish
mm.
the interview. So beautiful. And your mom's name? Your mom's name
Debbie.
is
Debbie.
what is it? Debbie. Thank
My
you, Debbie.
grandfather, yes. Little Bluebird. Our little Bluebird. Mm,
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much once again. Sending you a huge, huge hug, Jenny.
thank you.
Thank you again so much for choosing to listen today. I hope that you can take away a few nuggets from today's episode that can bring you comfort in your times of grief. If so, it would mean so much to me if you would rate and comment on this episode. And if you feel inspired in some way to share it with someone who may need to hear this, please do so. Also, if you or someone you know has a story of grief and gratitude that should be shared so that others can be inspired as well, please reach out to me. And thanks once again for tuning in to Grief, Gratitude, and the Gray in Between podcast. Have a beautiful day.